Life could be a dream, life could be a dream. Do, 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 shaboom. Life could be a dream. Shaboom. If I could take you up in paradise up above. Shaboom. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and open we'll meet again. Boom, ding dong, ding dong, a lang, a lang, a lang. Oh, whoa, whoa, pip, a bip, a dip. Oh, life could be a dream. If only all my precious plans would come true. If you would let me spend my whole life loving you, life could be a dream, sweetheart.
Every time I look at you, something is on my mind. If you do what I want you to, baby, we'd be so fine.
Oh, life could be a dream. Shaboom, if I could take you up in paradise up above. Shaboom, and tell me, darling, I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Start hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hope we meet again. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, life could be a dream. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Dream. Shaboom, if I could take you up in paradise up above. Shaboom, and tell me, darling, I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hope we meet again. Boom, boom, boom. Ding dong, ding dong, a lang, a lang, a lang, a lang, a lang, oh, bip, a bip, a bip, a oh, life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. Do, 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 shaboom.
Hello and welcome to the final E3 stream. This is it. This is the end. Namco, Bandai Namco, is the final one. The final stream. It's been, yeah, I'll talk about that after, but yeah. I have absolutely no idea what's in store for Bandai Namco. I'm going to assume that it's going to be fine. They are one of the last people doing it. I think the only people after Namco are Steam with their Next Fest, because I'm pretty sure Steam Next Fest begins today. And I think Summer Games Fest and IGN Summer of Gaming, all of that sort of stuff, that's still going on until into August. Or until something called I think it's called Gamescom, something like that. Either way, this is going to be the last thing I cover for E3, Bandai Namco's conference. There is another conference, however, going on in... yeah. There is another conference going on. 22nd July is going to be EA Play. So I will be covering that when it happens, but obviously that's way into the future at this point. It's about a month and a bit of time, so like 5 weeks or so. So there's no real point trying to even talk about it right now. It's a bit annoying, but I think they just don't want to be overshadowed. But to be fair, with E3 we've had it, hey, you know. So this, I mean, this is the third or fourth year now that I've watched E3 properly, and I'd say it hasn't been the best. I think it's just one of those years where we've got to a bit of a lull, you know, a bit of a... There's not really a lot to announce. Most big games that people are talking about are still in development. I think next year is going to be the big one. Which seems weird because it's all the anniversaries this year, but you know, the Zelda anniversary, and they did talk about that a bit, and it's the Sonic anniversary and the Pokemon anniversary, and those sort of stuff have already really been talked about at the beginning of the year, as opposed to, towards the end or middle. I think next year is going to be a big year, though. A lot of games are going to be nearing completion, a lot of big games. A lot of big games are probably going to be nearing release. There's going to be a lot of big trailers with a lot of gameplay, I think, next year. And also, everything should be in person next year as well. So, I think next year's E3 is going to be much better than this one's. We'll just have to, take what we got, I think, this year. Obviously, it was better than last year's because there was no E3 last year. I don't think I watched much last year in terms of E3, actually. I think I only watched Nintendo and Devolver and a few other things. But yeah, so I changed the welcome screen to blue, not realizing, that the orange is baked into the image here. That was a bit of a mistake, but never mind. Yeah, because I literally have a color source, really. I've got it there, so I don't know why I didn't make these images transparent, but never mind. Also, this is literally like an image. Don't move, do that. Let's do that there. Yeah, literally this entire thing is an image. It's not like, there's no text or anything going on here. It's just something I quickly put together, but we are actually nearing Bandai Namco's presentation. It's at 2:25 or something. I don't really know what to expect at all. I think it's probably gonna be maybe half an hour, something like that, of stuff. I'm not sure what they produce really. I think Namco do Katamari Damacy, and I think they did Klonoa. So maybe we'll get Klonoa announcement. I doubt it though. Or maybe this will be the big schwaboosh. That's a good word. Or of E3, the big old bang at the end. Who knows? We'll find out. I think yeah. I do want to do a sort of roundup video just talking about the games that I saw that I thought were decent and might check out. It won't be like a all-encompassing sort of look at every game and whatnot. Just kind of looking at the highlights, the ones that I thought were the most notable in, all of E3 really this year. I'd like to be able to do that. It's going to be a bit of a big task, but I'll see if I can. If not, I'll just talk about maybe Nintendo's Direct or something like that. That's the one I'm most familiar with. But yeah, I guess I'll get the stream started up for the final E3 presentation that I'm covering. There isn't much more after this, but I think it's just Steam Next Fest. The announcements of that, but I assume there'll be a sale to go along with that. Interestingly, it's definitely the right URL. There we go.
Pumped. I love Advanced Wars. Advanced Wars, if longtime NVC listeners and fans will know that Advanced Wars and Advanced Wars and F-Zero are the two franchises that Pear and I are constantly going back and forth about. Like, where's Advanced Wars? Where's F-Zero? Has Nintendo completely forgotten about these? So
no.
It's so awesome to see these.
So they're talking about. So this is IGN's stream.
Nintendo still has these around, like they still are thinking about these franchises. And
yes, this is IGN's stream. Bandai don't seem to have a stream themselves. It's weird. I think they're just using the official. I'll just shut them up for a bit while they're talking about Nintendo and Advance Wars and whatnot. But I think they're piggybacking off the official stream. So I think you can only watch it there, but I don't know. I heard about the whole Nintendo debacle with basically people like Nintendo not liking them restreaming. I think it's just what I can tell, just kind of people restreaming it directly without any sort of commentary or anything, because that's what some people do. They literally just restream it directly, and it seems to only be a Japanese thing. Maybe it's particularly prevalent on like Nico Nico or something, but loads of people stream the Nintendo Direct fine, so they're still talking about Nintendo, but for some reason, I think, or is this? No, this is Nintendo still. This should be Namco.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have all survived throwing off the cliff that is E3, but there's just a little bit left. I want to thank my Nintendo friends here, or my Super Nintendo.
Well, they're still talking about Nintendo
for
shit.
rocking with us. Coming up next, we have the Bandai Namco E3 presentation, so let's see what else the studio behind Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and Boruto have in store for E3.
Let's go. Eventually.
Or we can keep hanging out. I'm down with that.
Yeah, are we still up? Are we still up and running?
All
No.
right.
Because
no.
there we go.
There it is.
Bye.
Here we go.
Thanks
The
so much
dark.
for
Yeah,
watching.
they're just using the officially free one. Okay. So this is the game we've seen before. There's no audio, which is good. That's high. Super quiet.
Storage facility, but I strongly suspect it's where chemical weapons are hidden, so we need to move fast.
Not sure why, but it is.
To descend into the unknown alone is extremely brave.
Yeah, I think we've seen this
Or
before.
extremely foolish.
Maybe.
Brothers in arms, or will it be a case
Yeah, we've
of
seen this. But yeah, this is
man
super
falling
quiet. I don't know why. Might just be IGN's thing. Whatever.
You teeter
Oh.
on the edge of abyss. Your survival depends on the choices you make.
Yeah, they fixed it now.
They will be as a compass, guiding you through the unknown.
Okay. Yeah, they fixed it.
What
I don't know.
have these luckless souls fallen into?
I think I remember. Yeah, I think I remember seeing this game.
Look out for what?
I think we saw this at Summer Games
Their
Fest.
lights will be snuffed out. Unless you can find the means to save them.
Yeah, it was Summer Games Fest.
Trapped beneath the earth, swallowed by the void. Will you find the path to salvation? Or be lost in the darkness
Ooh.
forever?
Ooh. Yeah, House of Ashes, part of the Dark Pictures thing. I don't think I'll be getting that game. Doesn't look like my sort of thing. Exclusive studio interview, great. Okay.
We're here at Supermassive to talk about the next game in the Dark Pictures anthology, House of Ashes. I'm joined
Hello
by
there.
exec producer Dan. How you doing?
Just like a bootleg Germa
For joining us. Right.
with a
so,
chin.
Let's start at the very start. We're going to be talking about House of Ashes for most of the interview, but for those that don't know, tell us about the Pictures anthology.
The Dark Pictures is a series of narrative, story-driven, branching horror stories. Each one is standalone. They each tell a different story, completely separated from the others, but within the same universe. So there is connection between them all. House of Ashes is set at the end of the Iraq War in 2003, with links 4,000 years ago that set the story up.
So tell us more about the theme and themes, I suppose, within House of Ashes.
It starts off with a military unit. They've got some new technology that can look for weapons of mass destruction underground. They think they've identified something in the Zagros Mountains in Iraq, and then as part of that, they come into conflict with an Iraqi unit. There's a pitched fire.
This is increased in volume
the
right
two
there.
groups are plunged underground. There's an earthquake of some sort.
What I will say
It's
is,
revealed that there's a hidden temple
I really
underground
hope this doesn't turn
with
into
massive
Squeenix
structures, but these different
or
groups, they're all
Capcom, where it's
separated.
just
Radio contact is lost, and there's
long segments on games, followed by long segments of games, followed by a really quick segment on a game that really should have a long segment.
People are going to start disappearing.
But we'll see.
So this time
Okay, they're
it's a
censoring
very real
F-bombs.
threat.
All of the Dark Pictures games, they all pull something from real life or from history, from fact. What's the case with the myth or historical part of
The Iraq War, you idiot.
So we love looking at and reading myths and legends and stories and doing our research, and we know our fans love it as well because there's something that they can link into afterwards, and I love doing that when I'm playing games or watching movies myself. So this one's set 4,000 years ago, the Akkadian Empire.
That's
and
cool.
This terrible evil that happened. We had this self-proclaimed.
The
god
Akkadian
king,
round. Oh fuck's sake! I've
and
got
he
that song in my
essentially
head now.
cursed his people. He sacked this temple and brought famine and devastation to his own people. And so a lot of the history is lost, but we've done a lot of research about it, and then we had a lot of happy accidents that linked into the story we wanted to tell.
All right.
And the fun thing for us is we get to do our own take on it. We get to twist it, and obviously we've made our own truth from it.
Our
In
own
the
truth.
preview,
Okay.
Sneak peek, the trailer, we saw monsters. Tell us
Monsters.
a bit more about what's going on there.
The military
Again,
unit that we're playing as,
subtitles
they
over
don't really
English
know what
dialogue.
they're not human. They're
Confuses
bigger,
me.
They're larger. They're faster. The team aren't going to know if there's one or two of them, or hundreds or thousands of them.
Of
And
course.
that's kind of the threat with this. You know, they've got guns. Maybe they could try and take one of them down, but maybe there's another one around the corner, or maybe there's a group of them, and maybe they're going to get ambushed.
Maybe like a cluster.
Exactly,
And
yeah,
they all pop
a
out at
nest,
once.
as it were.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to work on and see these things move around and how horrific they can be. They're different to us. They perceive the world in a different way.
Generally, that's how it works. Yeah.
In the darkness, and was that? Did I see that? Was it something that moved, or is it actually just one of the other soldiers that's stuck in the catacomb?
Who's there?
We like to try and misdirect people on things. You know, that did you see something? Did you not? And that's a great thing within horror, that you think.
If this is a decent horror game, then it's probably going to be good. If it's full of jump scares and shit, then.
So should we
But I don't know. I
establish
don't know
that
about the
you
track
have
record of these
horror
games.
in the game?
Definitely, we love to do it. You know, it's fun for us to work on. As horrific as it is, and we know that our fans love it as well. So yeah, there's at least 60 unique deaths, and there's a constant variation on that as well.
Imagine bragging about the number of unique deaths you have.
Different things happening to them depending on how you play it out. You know, getting ripped and shredded and torn, and because there's
a lot of blood.
Right, there's going to be bullets flying as well, and all kinds of stuff. And it's not just the deaths; it's the gore that goes along with it, and you know, lots of blood.
Wicked. It sounds absolutely terrifying.
Did Did you just unironically say wicked?
What differences have you made or changes have you made to the gameplay and mechanics for House of
There's
Ashes?
gameplay in this?
We're always evolving. The Dark
Or is it
Pictures,
basically a visual
we
novel?
listen to
A
lot of
movie,
feedback
effectively.
from our fans, and also our team, what they want to do, how they want to push things forward. So we tried some stuff in Little Hope with you know, more camera control, 360 cameras at certain parts, and we've really leaned on that again, and it really works well. In House of Ashes, lots of the game is set underground, and so these sort of corridors should be tight and oppressive.
Creepy.
Yeah, indeed. So we've had to learn, because you take away the fixed cameras, and that takes away some opportunities for horror. But we've had to learn new tricks to scare people and, you know, ramp up the tension and you know, the chance for jump scares, which we know some people love. We also got a new torch mechanic, so you know, it's military themed. So these guys are going to be walking around with weapons, with torches mounted on them. We love the lighting that we do, the sort of really inky black darkness that we have, and sort of the contrast to the bright areas. And so you're going to need to lean on that torch to allow you to see where you're going, what the threat is, and that kind of stuff. We've also
Fuck's
done
sake.
things like, added difficulty settings to this game. So
Really?
in Little Hope, we added you know, QTE warning icons as an example, and we've got some really good positive feedback about that. But also, some people want to turn that off. We want to allow you to play the game in your way. So
Alright.
with our accessibility settings.
That's
and
cool. So
difficulty
there's
settings,
customizable
if you wanna
difficulty
have
and
a more
accessibility
casual
and
experience,
stuff.
you
And if you
can
just
change
want to
those
basically
settings.
enjoy the
Still
story,
work
then you
your
can kind of
guns
turn
down
all the
there
cool
in
stuff.
bed,
You can
but,
turn all
you
the
know,
easy stuff on.
that's what
Spoilers,
happens,
yeah,
indeed.
but that's what we come here for. That's
Yeah.
okay, we can deal with it. So I've got to ask, what was it like working with Ashley?
So Ashley was fantastic. She researched Rachel. She understood her when she came on the set, which is so refreshing. She knew her inside out. And Rachel is a flawed character, so she brought that through so fantastically. The rest of the cast were fantastic as well.
When we were looking for Joey, Salim helped me.
Oh, is it like mocapped to an extent?
We want you to connect to these characters and understand them as humans. We want them to seem real because they're real to us. You know, we spend a long time designing them, and I don't mind if you hate any one individual character, because you don't like everyone in real life. But maybe you'll like them when you see the journey they go on.
Maybe you're like them once they're dead.
And you feel bad about it, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, we want you to save them. We want you to try and save them. You know, we know that some people want to get everyone killed straight away, and that's fine. That's their playthrough. Cool. That's what they want to do. But you know, can you get everyone out alive and save as many as you can?
There's a lot of replayability there.
Indeed,
Goes on forever. I like that. So, last question.
This is going on a bit.
Have you seen?
This is going
Favourite
on
scenes, so,
for a bit, as in
Celine,
like 10
Araki,
minutes. Well, at least it's
Sogura,
not
and
20
Jason
minutes spent
Culture
on
are
Guardians of the
brilliant
Galaxy.
that's there.
If they end
There's
it
a
like
way that
around
can
here,
play out
then
and
that's
a sort
alright.
of contest between them, and you can make it go in a number of different ways.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's really emotional. Seeing them film it, I was lucky enough to
What
be
is this
there,
green
and you've
flash?
seen that come through
It's
in
in the
game,
video
really
as
got some
well.
out of it.
It's kind of like,
And then, of course, I love scaring people, so I love the jump scares. I love the moments of tension that we bring.
I don't know.
We can't hold you in that moment, so we've got some fantastic jokes in there as well to allow you to relax for a moment before we scare you again.
To take your mind off
Yeah.
the imminent threat. I like that. Dan, thank you so much. This has been really cool to talk about, and I'm sure, you know, I'm excited and terrified in equal part, and everyone else is just excited.
it
And it's been a
actually
real
looks
pleasure to
okay.
see
Like,
you
now I've
guys
learned a
do
bit more about it. It actually looks kind of cool. I still won't play it, but... See, now like I said, they've ended it, and that was not too bad. Like 10 minutes. It was a bit long, but you know. Hey. If they keep everything else short, then fair enough. Like an extended kind of look at a game, then fair enough.
Before we dive in, the House of Ashes.
What? That was it? Surely not.
We expected to see it today, but I don't think we expected to see this much. This gave me chills. It made me tear up a little.
But... Right, so... Give it another go here. Yeah, no, oh. You... What? I just copied and pasted the link from YouTube. What? There we go.
More layers to this horror. That's a huge thing. If you've never played it before, performance capture is a huge deal for Supermassive. They go through, they use the facial animation. They want you to feel like you're watching a movie. So we will see soon enough how the Dark Pictures anthology pans out this time around with House of Ashes. But for now, let's toss it over to the one, the only, Jackie Jane.
Brothers in arms, or each man for himself. Survival depends on choice. Will you find the path to save everyone? Or be
Oh. Well, that was Namco. As far as I can tell, that's it. That was Namco's presentation. Just 10 minutes on that. That was it. Like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, it's 10 minutes of just that. Oh, okay. So it really wasn't a conference at all. It was just kind of an interview. Well then, well, that was rather shit. Rather anticlimactic as it were, but you know, mind. Well, there you go. That was E3 2021. I guess what I can do is quickly kind of summarize what I thought of each kind of presentation. Rank it a little. I can go into unnicely something I can rank things with. We'll add the pad window capture here. Open up. Okay, there we go. So, what was the first one I watched? I think it was Summer Games Fest. Or Summer Game Fest. That was pretty good. I think it went on for a bit too long, personally. Like, I think they could have shortened it up a bit. Try and stick this in the center. To an extent, to try and kind of... I think some of the games they showed were a bit, you know... I think there's quite a lot of repetitiveness in terms of the games that they showed, and I think it was overly long, in my opinion. But it was pretty good, you know, it was fairly quick. There was a lot of stuff shown. I'm glad, you know, it's interesting they showed off kind of new developers, new publishers, a lot of up-and-coming stuff. So it was pretty good. I think IGN Expo was the next one, and it doesn't seem most people even bothered to cover this one, and to be honest, I'm not sure why I bothered. Like, it was okay, but it wasn't great. I think overall, again, it went on for too long, but it had even less interesting games to it, you know? I think, you know, and the hosts were not good at all. They announced a few things that were decent, but it wasn't great. I'm going to check what the next one was, because I think it was Ubisoft, and Ubisoft was even fucking worse. Like, Ubisoft, it was not good. I think that was the next one. No, it was Gearbox, but we'll do Ubisoft. I think it was... let's have a look. Oh, Ubisoft was ages away, but we'll do Ubisoft, whatever. Ubisoft wasn't good. Ubisoft was worse than IGN Expo, in my opinion, because they just spent way too long on things. And there wasn't enough captivating games in there. It was mostly updates to existing games, or stuff that just wasn't that interesting, really, or they could have summarized very quickly. The kind of racing gliding game, I can't remember what it was called, was pretty good. Like, that was alright. But it wasn't... It was pretty right. But nothing else really in there that really excited me or made me go, oh yeah, I want that. They just... Yeah, it wasn't good. I guess I'll talk about Gearbox. Gearbox was somehow even fucking worse. They spent, like, if I recall, it was like 30 minutes just talking about a movie, and it was the most boring shit on the planet. They were just talking about this movie. Like, what the fuck is it called? It was like a Borderlands movie, and I'm sure the movie's probably gonna be fine. Like I said, I'll watch it when it comes out on physical media or whatever, or on a streaming platform. But they spent way too much. I'm sorry, but you're a software company, not a movie company. Mention it for like 5 minutes, maybe even 10 if you want, but not for fucking like half an hour. And then everything else they mentioned, I think they talked about the Tiny Tina Wonderland thing for like 10 hours, and I don't think they really mentioned anything else. And it went on for so long, so unnecessarily. Devolver Digital, I think, was pretty good. I don't think it was good as Summer Games Fest, because I don't know. I don't think it was as good as Summer Games Fest, but I think it was up there. I think Devolver Digital was pretty good. I know people are kind of split on the whole comedy aspect of it, the skits and things, but I don't mind them. I do feel it takes them a bit too long to get to the games, and what they do show, while very high quality, can, if some of those games are hit and miss, and I think a couple of them weren't exactly the most, interesting things, should I say, it can get a bit, it's not enough. But I think Devolver overall, they showed a decent amount of good quality games, and the skits weren't too bad. But I think if you hated the skits, I don't think you'd find it that good. But I do put it below Summer Games Fest, just because I think Summer Games Fest has a lot more variety to it. Kind of. And what they showed, like they showed up new developers, showed off new publishers, and it was overall a more varied showcase. While Devolver Digital was just a few indie games. What's after that? I think the next one I watched was Square Enix. I'm going to stick that there. Same sort of issue, really. Spending way too long on that Guardians of the Galaxy game. I did enjoy the Guardians of the Galaxy showcase, but I think it was too long. I think if they spent maybe 10 minutes on it, and then didn't talk, and then maybe not as long on fucking the Avengers thing and games that were already out, and then they didn't focus enough on the Pixel Remaster stuff, which looked really interesting, but who knows what it's going to be about. Yeah, it's just stupid, really. Gearbox, no, sorry, Square Enix, I'm losing track. Yeah, I think Square Enix was spent too much on the wrong areas. And I think they didn't talk about a lot of stuff that people were wanting them to talk about. So overall, not a very good presentation for Square Enix. What's the other one that I've got listed next to Xbox, Bethesda, Square Enix, and is that Capcom? No. Who is that then? I've got to find out in a minute. Is it the PC Gamer Show? I think it's the PC Gamer Show. That was actually pretty good. A lot of high quality games. A couple of things I think we've seen before, but a lot of high quality games. There was a lot of bad acting, but it was in an endearing way. Again, I think it went on. I should put it somewhere. Overall, I think it did go on a bit long, but overall, I think PC Gaming Show is probably the best so far. It wasn't as long as Summer Games Fest, but it had the same variety and set of interesting games, I think. And it was honest. So was Summer Games Fest, but it's even more. So I think that was pretty up there. I already talked about Ubisoft. It's because it's out of order, because some of the streams got blocked due to having like copyrighted audio and stuff, so I had to remove it, and the streams then get republished, and it's a bit of a pain, but hey. Let's have a look. Devolver Digital, Xbox. Oh yeah, Xbox, Bethesda. I'm just going to put Xbox down. best one out of them all. Just actually, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's good as. No, I'm gonna say that one. I'm gonna put it underneath because although there was more stuff shown at Xbox, I don't think it was. And there was, a lot of big hitters, including that Forza Horizon 5, which looked really good, but I can understand the long showcase was a bit annoying for some people. I think it was a good conference. I think it was very good, but I don't quite think it was good as PC Gaming Show because really it's hard to say really. It's all gut and it's all about the gut feeling, and I don't think it's there. The reason why I can think, I don't know. I'm just talking at my arse right now because I'm trying to think why Xbox would be worse than PC Gaming Show. Yeah, no, I don't think I can. I think I have to put it above. Just because of it was just a good presentation. It was just game. Not all of them hit, but there was just so many games. And there was a mini fridge. I mean, how can you dock them anything for that? In television, you know what? I didn't actually mind the television conference. It was fairly short, although I think I extended it quite a lot by just constantly pausing and going, "Is that Android? Oh God, she was wise." A lot, but hey, in television, it looked okay. The actual conference itself was short. It explained everything you needed to know about the console. It made sense. It was simple. It worked. I mean, I think it set out everything that it needed to do and did it pretty well, I think. So I'm going to stick it up there. I'm not going to, I'm not going to say it was better than like Summer Games Fest because it wasn't. It didn't have the heavy hitters. Or, I'm going to stick it above IGN Expo though, I think. And I think I'm being generous to it because for some reason, but hey. Capcom. I barely remember Capcom, but if I recall, I liked that it was just simple and it was quick. And that it was just, hey look, here's what we're going to show, the things they're going to show, and then it was over. But then they focused too much in esports, and then they did a whole recap at the end, which was kind of pointless. And then it's like, you've got all these franchises, probably games in the works, but you didn't talk about any of them. But what was there was fine, but it wasn't great. Like, I think, I can't even remember what was in Capcom's, to be honest. I think it was some stuff we've already seen. What was it? Yeah, and I generally don't remember what was in Capcom's presentation. I'm going to stick it below Ubisoft and above Square Enix just because I don't remember what's in it. At least I remember what's in Ubisoft's. And what was the other one? It was Limited Games. I really liked Limited Run Games. I think it was a very good presentation. There was a lot of very good games there. It was absolutely insane, to be honest. I was just like, what is going on? Kind of. And I enjoyed it. There was a lot of good games there, a lot of high quality releases. I think it was right up there. Limited Run Games. Yeah, it's hard to say whether it was at the top, above, or below Xbox, but I'm just going to stick it below for now. And then Nintendo. I'm not even going to count Namco and Namco as a proper presentation, but I'm going to be honest. Yeah, no one viewing anymore, but I'm sorry to the poor soul who decided to try and view. Yeah, Nintendo was the best this year because it was quick. There was cool games, very heavy hitters as well, and pretty much everything I can think of was there. Like there was, I think the only thing I could think of that wasn't there was maybe some old franchises that reasonably wouldn't be there. Splatoon 3. Everything else was there. I would have just liked to seen more, it to be a bit longer, actually. To have some more indie stuff in there, but I understand that for Nintendo, that's not what E3 is about, you know. For Nintendo, E3 is about bringing the big first-party games. The indie stuff can be saved for the other E3s, or for their own kind of special presentations. So I think that's overall a sort of ranking of the conferences this year, the ones I've seen. I know there's a few ones I missed. The Wholesome Game Show. So if you, by the way, the ones I missed, go, feel free to check them out yourself. They're probably all VODed, so you can all. Is that a new phrase? VODed? You can probably go watch them all. So there was the Wholesome Games Expo, which is basically just like an hour of basically just happy, wholesome, regular games, indie games, I assume. There was the Future Games Show, which I don't really know much about, but I know it was a thing. I think there was a VR showcase, which was probably pretty good. If you're into VR, I'd go check that out. Obviously Steam Next Fest is happening in a minute, so you can, I think, or might be now actually, so you can go ahead and check that out if you're interested. Don't think there's a massive amount else that I missed. You can go, I think there's a proper full schedule on IGN's website with all the times and stuff like that. I think there's probably a couple I missed. Take-Two, if you really hate yourself, you can go watch Take-Two's panel. It wasn't even like a proper thing, it was just like a panel of misery, as far as I can tell. People went in with expectations and they were squandered rather quickly, which I think is funny, but because it literally said on the E3 schedule website that this is going to be like some panel, and it's like, yeah, I don't know about that, mate. Yeah, that is it for my E3 coverage this year, apart from EA, but, that was it for the main E3 coverage this year. If there is any other E3 stuff going on, obviously there's all sorts of game events and stuff going on this summer, so enjoy them. If there are any more conferences that I haven't watched, or ones that are coming up, go ahead, check them out, watch them yourself. But for me, this is it for E3 2021. Bandai Namco, I think. Bandai Namco I don't really count because it wasn't a presentation. It was just, hey look, this game we've already introduced. Here's 10 minutes on it. That was it. That was their entire thing. Yeah. Hey. Anyway, thank you for watching my E3 coverage. I know I've actually got quite a few more viewers than I usually do during this time because it's E3. So anyone who even just watched for a few minutes, thanks. I'll try and work on that video at some point, just to kind of try and summarize what I thought was kind of the best stuff that happened in E3 based on what I watched. But anyway, that's it for E3 2021, apart from EA, for some reason. I'm sure there is all sorts of stuff going on with Summer Games Fest, and the IGN Summer of Gaming, and of course Steam Next Fest starts soon, which is tons of indie games, all sorts of demos and stuff you can check out. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take care.